friends, Jonathan Neal Fitness here, and welcome back to Myofascial Mondays. Today we're going to be taking a trip back to the hips again. This time we're going to get into our first of the hip flexors that we're going to be addressing in this myofascial release workshop kind of thing that we're doing here online. So the first one that we're going to get into, the one that we're going to work on today, is a little muscle. It's not really even a muscle, it's actually just a patch of fascia, a patch of connective tissue that is called the Tensor Fascia Latae, or often just called the TFL because it's a lot easier to say that. Now this is kind of just right below what we call the ASIS. So right about here, you'll find your hip bone here. We got that ridge, what we call the anterior superior iliac spine, which is again a little bit easier to say ASIS. And then if we go just kind of on the front and a little bit on the side, so not quite right down the middle of the thigh, not quite out on the side here, but kind of at a 45-degree angle area, and it's really a small little patch right here, kind of like if you've had, one of the analogies we always use is we say like in women's jeans, like some of those women's jeans, they have that tiny little pocket right here, and it's going to be kind of in that same spot. So again, if it's not on the bone, obviously, as always, we're just going to go down south of there, not over towards the actual groin, not towards the hip, not towards the thigh-body connection here. We're actually going on the thigh itself, but not all the way out on the outside here where we have another bone out here. We want to be right in that kind of little spot right there. Now how we're going to get in there is that we're going to basically lay down on the side. I'm going to take my trusty ball here, as always. We got our ball, and I'm basically going to get back. I'm going to find that spot, and again, sometimes it might even help to kind of feel around in there with your fingers until you can actually feel like there's that meaty tissue. I can feel a little kind of ball rolling around, a little cable, a little tight spot maybe rolling around in there. You might even be able to palpate a little bit of that tenderness, a little bit of that pain that we're looking to get into here with the ball. But either way, whether you feel it out first or whether you're going to feel it out by doing it, I'm basically just going to put my ball below the hip bone, below that ASIS, and right in front of that thigh. I'm then going to take the top leg, I'm going to bring it across like so, and I'm basically just going to kind of roll myself down onto there. Now again, might have to move a little up, a little down, a little left, a little right. It does encompass a nice kind of palm-sized area for the average person. So there's a little bit of space there, but it's pretty small area that we're looking to work on up in that area, but on that bottom one, of course. So I'm just going to roll around until right about here I feel that spot. Same principle here as always. I'm going to wait on that spot. I'm going to sit there, give it some time until I actually feel that tender spot release. Now this hip flexor, this TFL, is super important. Perhaps, I would say that if I was going to have someone just do one spot, only one spot, this might be one of those spots that I would really consider to choose for that one and only spot. Now, of course, you do want to do your whole body. You do want to go through all the spots, which is why we're doing this series. But just trying to point out how important this hip flexor, especially as all the hip flexors, getting them released is going to be important. But this one, this TFL especially. So I've given it a little bit of time. I'm already starting to feel it soften up, starting to feel it break up, starting to feel it. Now, again, the test is that I can gently kind of roll left and right, and there's no more pain there. It all feels good. It all feels nice and released. So I can go ahead and just back off of that. Now, of course, even if one side feels a lot like, oh, this is my problem side, I cannot tell you how many times I've worked with a client and they've been like, I'm sure this is my tight hip. We get over on that other hip, and that's where all the knots are. Because where we feel something, where we feel discomfort in our body, isn't necessarily always the root of that discomfort. Something over here could be pulling that other hip up or down, and that could be causing pain over here. So I encourage you to explore both sides of this, get in there, get those spots released. So that's how you're going to get in there and get that TFL released. Again, I cannot stress enough how important getting especially these hip flexors released. It'll really help with backs, hips, knees, all that kind of stuff. So I hope, as always, that you can actually implement and make use of this technique, because I know if you do, it'll help you a lot. So this has been Jonathan Neal Fitness. I appreciate you watching. If you like this video, please go ahead and like it. If you want to continue down this journey, of course, you can always subscribe. And other than that, You all have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are, and I will see you next time.